Hello, and welcome to Under 1000. My name's Thomas Flower, and each episode I'll read you a piece of super short fiction. All of the stories are 1000 words or less. Today, I'll be reading Memory Palace. Hey, are you going to be in or around Glasgow on the 5th of December? I'm hosting a queer flash fiction open mic night at Category is Books from 7pm. Check out the Under 1000 Facebook page for more details, and come join us if you can. It should be a lot of fun. Please be aware that this episode deals with themes of domestic abuse, child abuse, and death. If that's likely to upset you or anyone you're listening with, then you might want to skip this one. Something is haunting me. Not literally. I haven't seen the faintest sign of a poltergeist or lost lonely spirit. No, it's something else. A feeling, a mood, some leftover emotion spilling over from the past and into me. Something about this building seems to have stored up memories and emotions for years. People always say, if these walls could talk, like it'd be some kind of vacation into nostalgic visions. Meanwhile, where I am, the walls are screaming, and I can't make it stop. It started just a few days after I'd moved in. The first few times it would creep up in my dreams, strange visions of events happening in the very room I was in. They must have been old as well, stretching back maybe to the 1700s? I'm no historian. I couldn't tell by sight alone, but the clothes and speech tipped me off anyway. There were so many things the house wanted to show me, just happening in that bedroom. Most of them were pretty mundane, people putting on clothes or reading in bed. Of course, a lot of them were quite explicit in the way you might imagine for a bedroom, but others were explicit in ways you might not. I saw the good times, but also the bad. People arguing, fighting, and more than once coming to blows. Of course, I brushed it all off at first. It was quite irregular to begin with, mixed in with other fanciful and abstract dreams. I told myself that it was just another bizarre conjuring of the mind's eye. But the way in which I kept coming back to the bedroom, with such increasing frequency and such incredible specificity, made me start to wonder if there was something else going on. It was only a short while after I'd realised that the house started trying to show me more. Strange visions would come over me. I'd walk into a room, and then suddenly see it all looking different than what I knew. I'd watch as the house would play out a scene for me, showing me what once was. It was a jumble of time periods now, some very old, some from just a few years before. It was almost like a greatest hits reel. I began to pick out frequent characters and common events. I saw couples coming together, noticed when children entered the picture suddenly, and noted with sadness when a family member was strangely absent from the scene all of a sudden. It took time, of course. The house was easing me into the stories as it went, trying to coax me into caring about the place itself and the people who once inhabited it. When I'd come out of these strange trances, I'd always find myself lying flat on the floor, most often face down. It was like passing out and then coming to again, except with a strange historical soap opera playing in front of me. I don't know exactly why I didn't try to leave then. I'd often find myself with cuts and bruises and occasionally even sprains and fractures, having presumably fallen straight to the ground after entering a doorway. When I recount it now, it seems like the most terrible decision in the world to want to stay in a place like that. But at the time, my own morbid curiosity and fascinated delight held me a willing hostage to the building's strangely enchanting tricks. Of course, the honeymoon period wasn't to last. I don't know if it wanted to punish me for some reason, or if it just ran out of happy memories to share, but after a while the visions that would swim in front of me grew far bleaker. Death, pain and suffering were all the house wanted to share with me now. I was forced to take a front row seat for elderly residents taking their final breaths, bedridden and clearly in agony. I watched helplessly as marriages broke down. Children were beaten bloody or ignored, and in one case even a murder committed. It was after that I decided I couldn't live here anymore. I made plans to sell the property and leave as soon as possible. When I'd heard of a building in such good condition, standing abandoned for so long, I thought it was so cheap that people must be crazy not to buy it. Now I realised why everyone had stayed well clear. I packed my bags and made arrangements with a friend to stay for a few days while I could figure everything out. I was preparing to head out when the house catapulted me into another vision. I don't know how, but it was as though it knew somehow and was determined to make me stay. And so now it keeps me trapped here, unable to ever leave. Hearing all this, you may think it's strange, but I still don't think of this place as malicious or vindictive. I feel, I know somehow, through the seeping of emotions out of the walls, that this place is lonely and desperate for someone to stay and care about it. Holding me prisoner in endless memories may not be the best way to do that, but after so long without anyone, I think this poor, sad house is desperately yearning for someone, anyone, to stay. I doubt I can survive here for much longer. Without being able to leave, and being conscious for only a few hours each day now, I am wasting away fast. The building regales me with stories near constantly, and while fascinating as ever, I doubt I'll ever leave except in a coffin. The very yearning by which I am kept here is the same which will kill me off. I can only hope that my own story will someday bring happiness to the next poor soul to be caught in this Venus flytrap of nostalgic enticement. Thank you for listening to Under 1000. I'm your host, Thomas Flower. To follow the show online, look for Under 1000 Pod on Twitter or Facebook. If you'd like to support the show on Patreon, go to patreon.com/under1000pod, where you can sign up to read each month's stories in advance, as well as to have a thank you be read during these credits. The theme music is an instrumental version of In Between Days by Nick Tate and the Sharks. To hear the full song and more from the same EP, go to Nick Tate, NICTATE, and thesharks.bandcamp.com, or search for them on your favourite streaming platform. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and that you'll join me again next time for some more super short fiction.